I am Eva Fourkiller Commando. I was born and raised right here in Stillwell, Oklahoma. In 1928, I was born. My mother and father. My father was Felix Fourkiller, and then my mother was Flora Hogner. I had 7 brothers. I have 2 left, and I have 2 younger sisters. They're 20 years younger than me. Some, if you're lucky, you got to sleep on the pillow, and sometimes you're the one that has to sleep at the foot of the bed. The little ones got to sleep at the top because you had to fight for covers. We had a certain place. We knew where we was going to sleep. I had to work a lot. That's why I don't know how to cook. I had the job of babysitting, and we all stayed out in the yard. You know, you wasn't allowed to run in the house and be loud in the house, you know. So we stayed outside, you know, on good summer days. Even in the wintertime, you know, we ran outside, you know. We needed ice up down there. We had a pond down there, you know. My grandpa made us a sled. Boy, it was fancy now. I had runners that thick and tall, and we'd get down there, hook one horse on. You know, things like that you could do and not get in any trouble. We had to make all our fun. We'd play softball, but then the whole community would get involved in that, you know, so that was fun. Or we went crawdad hunting. We lived by a branch of water that was, I don't know if there's any now, lots of crawdads, you know. We'd go down, spend 45 minutes, something like that, and bring home a small bucket of crawdads. And that was a meal, you know. When we were little, younger, we had a swimming hole there. You know, it wasn't deep. But as we got older, we walked off down what we call Walnut Hollow. There's Evansville Creek down there. And we'd walk off down the hill, and we'd swim all afternoon. The bad thing was you had to walk back up. We only had a rope swing, and we'd get into fights over that, so my dad took it down. We couldn't go very far. Just had to be pretty close to the house. If my mother would call us, we could hear her. We had a ball field in between us, our place and the other Hogner place. We'd gather there in the evening time and play baseball. My mom, my grandma did all the medicine. My grandma especially, she knew what to get. You know, we never had a doctor. We were healthy. We ate what we farmed, you know, corn, beans, peas, whatever, tomatoes, whatever you could can. When it was time to butcher, we only did pigs. See, I never had a hamburger until I was grown, and I did not like it because it was beef. They dried lots of food, you know, say like those peaches, and then apples, put them on top of the house. Then you had to take them down in the evening. It was outside work for me. You know, once you got the house cleaned up, made the beds, you better not lay down in them in the daytime. You had to be sick, you know. We didn't stay in the house, right, except in the wintertime. We had trees out in the big yard by the barn. And there was a young a boy, I won't call his name, he come over to play with us, but he was mean. I don't know how come. Well, I think I thought it up. It wasn't my brother. There was a bird nest up in that tree, and well, my brother went up after it, and this boy said, "No, I saw it first. It's really mine," you know. Well, that started the whole thing. So my brother said, "Well, I'll get down, you know. You go up and get it." And I told him, "Yeah, let him go get it." So then he got up there and he had this bird nest and he said, "You guide me back down and show me where to step." Well, that was the wrong thing to say. I showed him the rotten limb and he stepped on it. It broke and he fell down. There was huge rocks at the bottom of the tree that big. Oh, if he had hit his head on that rock, you know, I don't know if he would have been all right. And then when he got up, he said, "Oh, it's Eva May's fault," she told me, you know. I was 5 years old when I started to school, and I did not speak English, but she said I learned very fast. And so far, I speak Cherokee today. I probably don't speak it right, you know, but I do well enough that you can understand. I see Marietta's 100 years old, so they just had 2 rooms, one for the lower grades and one for the upper grades. All my life, my mother made biscuits and gravy of a morning for breakfast. You didn't always get eggs, but you got biscuits and gravy. So, and fried potatoes when we went to school, we'd have, me and my brothers would have fried potato in a biscuit. Once in a while, we'd have, my mom would get a jar of peanut butter and we'd have peanut butter and biscuit for our lunch. And then the day came that they started cooking at school, making big pots of soup, but you had to take your own bowl and spoon. And then the day came that they had those big boxes of crackers, saltines. Then we had crackers and soup. I remember the teacher would go over and stir the soup, you know, and be sure it didn't burn. I have to tell you about the pigs when it was time to butcher. Yeah. Sometimes they'd kill 2, sometimes 3. The men would get the hot water ready, get it going and do the scraping of the pig. I remember my grandma just lining up her butcher knives, and they'd be real sharp. We were not allowed to, you know, mess with those things. And she's the one that butchered the pigs. And I said, "Dad, how come Grandma has to do all this work, you know?" And he said, she's the best one. She does not make mistakes. He said that in Cherokee. And now I was very young. And I had seen my mom and Grandma, when it was time to do the geese, they'd put them up, put the head down here, I think, and then have the goose turned upside down, and they'd pick his feathers, whatever kind they wanted, you know. And then they'd stuff the pillows. And we always had chickens, and you had to gather the eggs. The thing I remember about the eggs is when my grandma had too many eggs, she'd say, and the boys wouldn't do it, so she'd send me to the store to sell the eggs. I did not like to do that. Sometimes he'd buy the eggs, and sometimes you'd have to walk on into town. She took the money, but when she went to town, now she always got us different kind of candies, and I don't know where she hid it, but boy, it would be hid. And then she'd give it to us on certain days. To really look for it, you know, but we couldn't find it. I mean, she hid it.